Welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors, the pod that puts the fight in fright.
Welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors. I'm Derek.
And I'm Daniel.
Hey, Daniel. Daniel,
Hello.
who is who? Matt, you want to jump in?
Sure, Daniel is my son.
Yeah.
I think.
You think?
So.
But yeah, so we are without Shelly today, but Matt and I are going to take care of the episode. But with Matt coming over, I figured it would be fun to have Daniel do our intro. So, Daniel, thank you.
You are welcome.
And you're getting into horror a little bit, aren't you?
Yes, I like horror stuff.
All right, Daniel, so before we let you go, I just wanted to see, are there any like upcoming horror films that you're really looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
on the front of everyone's minds right now.
Oh, yes.
I think he's been waiting for this movie for a couple years now or something, right, Daniel?
Yes.
Do you play the game? I know it's a game on on consoles and stuff, or is it just like streaming on?
Well, you can get it on like Steam for like PCs and stuff.
Yeah.
You can get it on like PlayStations.
Cool.
And you can. There's also mobile ports. So I have one for the first game.
Okay,
and
cool.
I've been playing that. I'm on night 5. It's really freaking hard.
Do you know when does that movie come out? Is it around Halloween or?
Yeah, it's October 27th.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, Daniel, thank you for letting us kick the show off, and maybe we'll make an episode when we all go out and watch Five Nights at Freddy's.
That would be awesome.
All right, cool. All right, Daniel, thanks, bud.
Peace out.
And by the way, this episode is brought to you by Pina Coladas,
Oh yes,
made by Carrie.
I know my my beautiful wife has made us pina coladas for
And
this
she
episode.
is beautiful.
Yes, very much so.
Oh, hey,
And she's topping us
hold
off.
on. Wait.
Oh, she's going away.
I can do that. Hold on.
You can make it so
I can
she
make
top
some
you
room.
Up. Yeah, making room. Oh, that's a decent amount. This is not going to go off the rails like we did for The Visitor, our first season.
Well, that movie was
We got shit-faced.
that movie was extra terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
But this week we are talking about Braindead / Dead Alive, 1992 Peter Jackson movie.
If you hear a thud, it's just my shoe. I'm getting comfy over here on the
Nice.
on the futon, the Grammy and Papa futon.
Yeah, that's where they sleep.
Hopefully that's all they do. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't ask. It's
Questions.
the don't ask, don't tell situation.
Yes, it's one of those.
All right, so Matt, we're gonna kick
Yeah.
this off how we always kick them off. Anything scary happen? You watch anything scary?
Well, I started watching. Everybody's been saying since we're going to Halloween Horror Nights coming up
Yes.
here shortly. Everybody's been saying, "Oh, you need to watch The Last of Us."
Yes, on HBO. Yeah.
So I started watching it. I have to say I need to maybe start watching my movies a little bit earlier than like 11 o'clock.
Dude, what is? Yeah.
Well, we were partying last night, man. It was
So last night was when you tried to kick it off.
I got through 2 episodes, but I fell asleep in some of them. So far it seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm on episode 2, so I'm gonna try to watch some more tonight because I really want to get prepared for Halloween Horror Nights. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I just started watching that. Yeah, nothing. It's just
That's
the
it.
beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. Very sad at the very beginning.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
episode. Yeah.
So I won't give any of it away, but yeah. So that's pretty much it. By the way, I have to apologize. I'm a little stuffed up. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think Daniel got me sick.
Got to stop mouth kissing your son.
Yeah, I know. Well, I told him whenever he wants to stop.
Okay.
But anyways, how about you, Derek? Do you see anything or
Yeah.
anything
So
scary happen to you?
obviously we had Hurricane Adelia. Is that how you say
I
it?
forgot about that. Well, okay.
I'm messing up the name probably.
Ida.
Anyways,
Hurricane, whatever.
yeah. So this podcast is based in Florida. We live in the Sunshine State,
Yeah, we
so
do.
we had to deal with a hurricane this last week. Luckily, luckily for us, it shifted north, but unluckily for our northern neighbors, they got hit direct. I think it was a Cat 3 when it hit.
Yeah.
But I figured on, what was it, Wednesday night when it hit us?
Tuesday.
All right, so Tuesday I figured, we watched High Tension last season, and Alexander Aha, he also did a movie called Crawl, which takes place
Okay.
during a hurricane in Florida, and it involves some alligators. So I watched that during Tuesday night before the hurricane. We got the the winds and the rain. So it was a pretty fun movie.
It's not like, is it like cocaine alligator or something?
Cocaine bear?
Just kidding. Cocaine bear, cocaine shark.
Yeah.
Cocaine this,
No,
everything cocaine.
There's no
a lot
drugs.
of cocaine going on.
There's zero drugs being consumed. They're just
Okay.
consuming humans.
So what's it about? What's it?
This girl, her father is missing pretty much, and she goes back to find him before the storm hits, and she gets to the house, and she finds him, but he's been injured by a gator.
Oh.
And then the storm comes, and they get stuck in this huge crawl space that is pretty much a basement, which does make sense in a house in Florida. But I don't want to go in too much detail, but it was a pretty fun movie. There were some brutal parts, but for someone who lives in Florida and deals with the hurricanes, I figured it would be fun to check it out. But it's available. Actually, it's available for free on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
So if anyone wants to go check it out, just search up Crawl. I forget what year it was, but it's the alligator movie. Alligator hurricane movie.
Crawl.
Yeah, so go check it out.
Pretty easy title there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, by the way, free on YouTube, our movie.
That's right. Braindead.
Hey.
Segue
connections,
the king of segues, Matt.
Yeah, that's me.
But so Dead Alive 1992 was available on YouTube. This is the film we got in this week. So I say we kick this off. Matt, take away this section of Dig Up the Bones. And this is where Matt just introduces the movie, gives some background. So Matt, take it away.
All right. So we got Dead Alive. This movie's runtime was an hour and 25 minutes. It is considered a comedy. Right? Homedy? That's a combination. I just made that up. Yeah, I just did that.
Actually, I also heard
Homedy.
I heard it called splatterstick instead of
Splatterstick. Oh,
instead
interesting.
of slapstick, splatterstick.
Oh, I like that one.
I'll accept that too.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'll accept that.
Cool.
So yes, this is a splatterstick horror comedy. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a pretty high number, an 89%. The initial release was February 12th, 1993. Director is the beloved Peter Jackson. Distributed by Trimarks Pictures. Produced by Jim Booth. Cinematography was Murray Line. Music by Peter Descent. That name really sounded familiar to me. I didn't really deep dive on that, but that name sounded familiar to me, like he was in some other movies too. The cost of this movie was $3 million.
It was actually under budget. Fun fact. Did you see that?
Well,
okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I did. What I saw is $3 million. The gross of this movie did not fare so well.
No,
$242,623.
Yeah,
even. So this movie is starring Timothy Balm as Lionel Cosgrove, Diana Penvillar as Paquita Maria Sanchez.
Paquita?
Yeah. Is it Paquita?
Yeah.
Paquita. Okay, whatever. Paquita. Sounds right. Paquita Maria Sanchez. Elizabeth Moody as Mum, a.k.a. Vera Cosgrove. Ian Watkin as Uncle Les. Stuart Davini as Father Magruder. Brenda Kendall as Nurse McTavish, and Jeb Brophy as Void. Did not see any sequels for this movie. All right, so this movie is about an overprotective mother, Vera Cosgrove, played by Elizabeth Mooney, spying on her grown son, Lionel, as he visits the zoo with his lovely Paquita. His mom is accidentally bitten by a fearsome rat monkey. When the bite turns his beloved mother into a zombie, Lionel tries to keep her locked safely in the basement, but her repeated escapes turn most of the neighbors into the Walking Dead, who then crash a high society party thrown by Lionel's douchebag Uncle Les, and the entertainment ensues as these zombies destroy a good time.
Yeah, they definitely crash a party.
Crash a party.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it, man.
All right, so we pulled Braindead / Dead Alive last week. Matt, what was your initial reaction to landing on Braindead?
Well, I mean, I looked at it as like, okay, this is going to be an Evil Dead sort of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right
Before
away.
even.
Yeah, because I mean, just the title alone makes me think of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And then I saw, some of these movies that we look at, or we put on the wheel. We look at the titles and stuff. Or I'll go back and I'm like, oh, I'm just curious what the poster looks like.
Yeah.
And it totally makes you think of Evil Dead. So I was like, oh, this should be fun.
Oh, cool.
So I already knew it was going to be a comedy.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I was already geared for some laughter and stuff. So yeah. How about you?
So I have recently watched this film. I think last year. I've heard of it. I've heard of how crazy it was.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine at work, Paul, he told me it was available on YouTube. So I watched it last year, and I was blown away by it. I was highly entertained. I thought it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be fun for us to chop it up. No pun intended.
Chop it up.
Yeah, but I thought it'd be cool for us to talk about on the podcast. And, I know we talked last week about Puppet Master and like the cult classics and stuff like this, but I think this is definitely a cult classic movie, especially when you see how much it grows. But like, people often, they hold this film in high regard, I would say. But with that, let's move on into Feasting Fiends. In this, we just discussed the topics of overall pros, overall cons, favorite lines, most enjoyable, most annoying character, and then we finish it off with our favorite kills / scares. So, Matt, I'm going to throw it to you because I have a laundry list for pros. So you go first, bud.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit. I mean, one thing I will say with this podcast that we are very, very adamant about is not to have too much offline discussion about it. What do you think? So we try to hold that for the podcast, which is nice.
Yeah, we like to come into this conversation with each other and not knowing exactly how we all feel. So, it's a chance for us to have like honest reactions to one another.
Yeah. So I mean, I have mixed feelings about this movie. But I feel like the more I watched it, the more I liked it. I watched it 2 times.
Okay.
The first time I was like, huh, interesting. I don't know. There were a couple parts where I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So going into my pros, I guess we'll just start there. I love the storyline. Very basic.
Yeah.
Just simple, easy. Mom gets bit. This overly bearing mother who's super like controlling to her son, who's an adult. So I did like the storyline. This is what I loved about this movie. I loved how nauseous it made me feel.
Oh, how grotesque it was.
How grotesque it made me feel. And I was like, there were scenes in it, just thinking about it now, I want to throw up.
Especially in the final third. Just the house party scene.
The house party scene, but even before that, where the mom's transitioning and these people coming over. And the fucking pudding scene.
The custard.
Oh, I hate.
Oh
listening.
My God!
One of my biggest pet peeves, and if Daniel was in here, he would tell you because I'm always on him about it.
Yeah.
Close your fucking mouth when you eat.
Yeah.
Like the smacking of the gums and just like the guy sitting there, close up shot of him eating the pudding, and the mom like her fucking pus squirts out into his and he's just, oh, this is good pudding. Like, oh my God. So I love the fact, those were my big cons. I love the fact of how squeamish it made me through almost the whole thing. I don't deal well with pus.
Yeah, there's
pus
a lot
and
of
vomit.
Yeah.
Like I think not to go off of a tangent, but I was watching I forget the name of the movie. It's with it's a singing movie. It's all these people, like it was like Adam Levine, or not Adam Levine, but the comedian. I'm trying to think of his name. Adam Devine's in it. Kendra something's in it.
Yeah, I know what
you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about? It's a movie about singing. Well, the one
Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, this one scene in the movie, like I don't know where it came from, but this lady just vomits everywhere, and it's just they don't show the front of her, just the back of her, and I'm like, oh, like that stuff. I don't care. I know it's fake, but that just grosses me out. It freaks me out. So, anyways, I love that the squeamish feeling I had throughout this movie. So, job well done there. So, very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's interesting that you have that because it's something that grosses you out, but you loved the reaction in it. So that's that's cool that ended up a con. I mean, that ended up a pro and not a con for you.
Yeah.
So I'll jump in. This film is just over the top. The acting, the story, and then the effects and all the gore. It was just amazing. And then it did what also I love about the Terrifier movies, which is it has this combination of silliness with brutality. And there's something about that when you find the balance that like it hits me right in the perfect spot, and I just can't get enough of it. I also thought you talked about Evil Dead, how it looked like something like Evil Dead. Even like the camera work was very a la Sam Raimi with the Evil Dead series, like the close-ups with the light at just right, and just how they did the camera work was amazing. And then I also thought one of my other pros was during the party scene where you had all this mayhem and all this grotesque gore and stuff. A lot of the editing there was just like seamless, where they were going from these people, yelling and screaming for their lives and getting their faces ripped off, where like it was going from the actor to the prosthetic, and it was just like a seamless cut. You really had to pay attention to find where it transitioned. And I thought that the editing on it was like top notch because a lot of those scenes were just like, it wasn't half-assed.
Yeah.
I talked about the effects and stuff. I did want to. Looks like the special effects coordinator was Steve Ingram, so hats off to him. I mean, if you go on IMDb and you look at the list of cast and crew, like the crew list is astronomical because of all these prosthetics they were working on. And just all this work that went into this film, and it really did pay off.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's definitely a lot to dissect in this movie.
Yeah, for sure. But also, the guy who did the music, I want to give a shout out to him. It was another pro, I thought, because Peter Descent, I thought he matched the moods. Because in a movie where, you have this, it's basically like a rom-com with tons of gore.
Yeah.
And, when it was silly, there was like light piano. And then when it was like a romantic part, there were like strings that came in, and it matched the moods. And then like the creepy part with the zombies in the basement, like that music hit just as well. And I thought he matched the mood of the moments very well, and were very different and distinctive, and it was just perfectly done. So I mean, I'll cut it there, but those were my pros.
In this movie, it was hard for me when we get to our stabs and stuff. It was just hard for me because there's a lot of moving parts in this movie, and it hits you, and you're like, oh, this is actually really good, and then you're like, I don't know if I like this movie. So it was
interesting.
It was a very interesting movie. So
yeah.
Do you have any more pros though?
My last pro, and this doesn't have anything to do with the movie, but I did want to give a shout out to the YouTube page that posted this up so we could all view it. Because otherwise there was no way we couldn't even fucking rent this movie anywhere.
No.
So a big shout out to AI Upscales and Fan Restorations on YouTube. They're the ones that posted it, and I think it's a pretty solid as far as quality.
Oh yeah.
And it's I believe it's the original unedited version.
Okay.
So thank you so much to AI Upscales and Fan Restorations for posting this up.
It's definitely that early '90s quality movie and stuff. So I mean, I thought as far as being on YouTube, I mean, it can get really bad, but no, it was quality. It was good.
And I did see Peter Jackson in an interview was talking about he wanted to get this, Bad Taste, and Meet the Feebles, which were his first three films.
I've never heard of any.
But he wanted to get them like in 4K, like restoration.
Oh, I see.
So if that happens, this movie, and Bad Taste is pretty much the same. Like Bad Taste is like an aliens come down and they have to consume humans for food and stuff.
I did see the poster for that one with the guy flipping off.
Yeah.
It's like the blob looking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I hope that happens. I'm extremely hopeful that happens. All right, Matt, let's go on to cons. What do you have for cons?
So, I mean, again, to me, I'm like, I can't think of any other con other than the fact that it made me feel squeamish and nauseous because there were parts where I'm just like, oh God, I'm watching it because it's the movie. I'm not going to cover my eyes, but I'm just like, man, like this is really like making me sick. Like I want to just shut it off. There were a lot of scenes in it, and it wasn't really. There was so much blood in this movie. That stuff doesn't bother me. You know, the ribs and all that kind of stuff being like that stuff.
Tearing out of the chest cavity.
That's funny. But yeah, it's just like humans, like us as humans are just simple things as eating.
Yeah.
And, you know, just like her fucking ear falls out into the pudding scene. I think that whole scene, now that I think about it a little bit more, I think that whole scene just had me nauseous from the point where her skin just flaps down up in the bedroom. She's trying to get ready to entertain these people. And then she's sitting there, her ear falls off and it falls into the pudding. Fucking pudding. Maybe that's what it is. Like, don't eat pudding around
It's
me.
a very noisy food,
yeah,
too.
just like, oh my God. So that was my con. I think that how nauseous this movie made me feel.
Yeah.
Like it just really got me. And that's what I like about these movies. There's been movies that, you know, really get me, that are really like either disturbing or something like this, where just nauseating. And that to me is what I want in a movie.
Yeah.
I want something that actually makes me feel something other than just sitting there watching a horror movie and being like, oh yeah, I could cut his head off or whatever. It's like that. Like I want something that makes me feel sad. You know, I want something that raises the hair on my arms up, you know, stuff like that. And that was my con.
Yeah.
and my pro.
Well,
So,
yeah. So you liked the you know, how it made you feel, but then also you wanted more. You wanted more than just feeling nauseous. I get it.
yeah. So that's pretty much what I have. I mean, so yeah. How about you, Derek? What do you got for your cons?
So for my cons, this movie I would also describe as no stone unturned. There is not a single idea that I don't think wasn't played with and flushed out and on, you know, filmed for us.
Yeah.
Because there were so many crazy parts where you're just like, oh my gosh, like this was crazy. But then, you know, wait 30 seconds longer and you're going to get something even crazier. So one of the things I would have loved to see, and I thought was a bit of a miss, was that we did not see the Selwyn zombie baby's birth.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
we saw her writhing on the floor with a pregnant belly after the zombie father and zombie nurse got it on at the
Father McGruben.
yeah.
Or McGruben.
And the fact that the baby was just like, it appeared all of a sudden and we didn't get like a grotesque,
Yeah.
you know, pregnant zombie giving birth. And then I also, you know, Father Magruder, he was such a phenomenal character. He was so cool. I loved his thick New Zealand accent. I loved his karate skills in the cemetery. It was perfect. And I was so like, I was the saddest when he got impaled in the cemetery and quote unquote died, turned into a zombie. I was so sad because it would have been such a gem for him and Lionel to team up against all these zombies.
Yeah.
I just loved him so much, and I didn't. I think it could have been so much better if he wouldn't have died. And then at the end, how Mega Vera is taken care of, I just thought it was kind of weird, and it didn't like for everything else kills to be so grand and crazy. Like hers was just like a simple little thing, and then she was gone. So yeah, those are my cons. Next up, we got favorite lines. Matt, I'm gonna give it back to you to go first. So what do you got? There's a lot of lines. In this movie.
there were a lot of lines, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, I always have to go back sort of and revisit the lines.
Yeah.
So
did you have the closed caption on when you were watching it?
I always have the closed caption on because I don't want to miss anything. So I always have it on there. So one of my favorite lines, like you said, there are many. So I'm just going to stick with this one.
Yeah.
Which is actually a very disturbing line from Uncle Les.
Ooh, Uncle Les. Okay.
Yeah, and it's when Uncle Les is trying to figure out what the noise is.
Oh yeah.
Going on behind the door.
So we have the nurse.
Where the nurse and Father Gruder are performing coitus. And
Sweet
Uncle
zombie coitus.
So
they were relentless.
I didn't even say this. I didn't even get to the freaking thing.
Do the line.
Oh yeah, it was very relentless. It was like, oh my gosh.
Even at the end, before they were taken out, they were thrusting on each other.
Zombies love having sex.
know.
They love the coitus.
It was cool.
So Uncle Les then says to Lionel, and I'm going to try to do my best Uncle Les impersonation. which is Australian.
No, New Zealand.
Or New Zealand. Close, right?
It's a,
So you found your father's old stag movies, did ya? Is that the one with the donkey and the chambermaid? What the hell kind of porn is your dad watching?
and why does Uncle Les know about it?
Yeah.
Why does he know about
It's
the
just
donkey
like
and
a-
the chambermaid?
Right. So yeah, it's kind of gross.
Yeah, there's
Kinda-
a lot of gross stuff in it. Uncle Les was
He was
fucking
he was
king
a
of gross.
Yeah, king of gross, a rapist, like all this
Yeah.
weird stuff. Just so yeah, I thought that was a wasn't necessarily my favorite line, but
Yeah.
but it was like something to ponder.
Yeah,
was a
it
nice
stuck
little
out like a sore
pondering
thumb.
moment. Like, So Lionel's dad and apparently Uncle Les are into bestiality.
Ooh,
Cool. So
Did you? So this is off topic a little
Yeah.
bit, but when Lionel found those pictures in the attic of his father with the mistress, the blonde hair mistress,
Yeah.
like they were all sweet pictures at first, and then like there was a random picture in there where he had like a huge hot dog, and he was like,
shoving it in her
he
mouth.
was like feeding it to her, and she had her mouth open with her tongue dangling out. I was like, what the fuck is that? What a picture to take and have in an
Who's
attic.
taking the picture?
I don't know, Vera.
Vera.
Stupid.
Mum.
Yeah, mom. But all right, so my favorite line was Father Magruder.
Yeah.
And this was during the scene. It was supposed to be Vera's funeral, and during Father Magruder's dialogue, Vera is busting out of the casket and attacking Lionel. So Father Magruder is saying, "The theme of today's service is the sanctity of motherhood. Vera Cosgrove will be surely missed by her friends and grieving family, but she was indeed a fine woman, and everything a boy could wish for in a mother. Though deprived of his father in an early age, was blessed with an abundance of mother love." And mother love had me chuckling. And
Love.
I loved his little eulogy while she just absolutely wrecking Lionel in the other room.
Crashes through the stained glass window.
And then I did look this up because I thought it was interesting. But one of the rare moments where Paquita actually spoke Spanish was when Uncle Les was being extremely inappropriate to her during the funeral service.
Yeah.
And he was asking her if she wanted to, get a stiff drink and all that shit.
Jeez.
But she spoke Spanish, but I went ahead and translated it, and I thought it would be
cool.
fun. So her response to Uncle Les asking her to get a stiff drink was, "Do you know what I tell you? Fuck off and leave me alone, asshole." I don't know if that's worth it.
It was worth it. Yeah.
But I went to Google Translate, and I was like, what is she saying to Uncle Les? But it was one of the only times she actually spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
So-
No, that was worth it. That was good.
It was worth it?
I think so.
Oh,
I mean, it
great.
was a lot shorter than what I thought, but
Yeah,
but it's always worth it.
I know.
It's like a deep dive.
yeah, a deep dive
Deep
into
dive
Espanol.
into Espanol.
Espanol in New Zealand.
Yes.
Another little line that probably, it's not a big part of anything, but I thought it was funny because I looked it up. But one of the party goers, when Void got out from the basement at the end, the guy said, he said, "I take it back. I'm sorry I called Nabokov a pedophile." So I was like, who the fuck is Nabokov? So I looked it up, and it's the guy who wrote Lolita, that book about the
Oh my gosh, yeah.
the very indecent relationship between the grown man
and like a 12-year-old girl.
Exactly, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's kind of funny,
That's very
it's a little gem in there.
Like I would have never thought that.
I know.
Interesting.
So I think we'll move on from lines.
Yeah.
Matt, what was your most enjoyable character?
For me, I mean, it was a no-brainer. Lionel.
Yeah.
Lionel was just the movie with like Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead. I mean,
Yeah, like the Ash character.
yeah, the Ash character. I mean,
That's what Lionel
who
was.
else are you really gonna pick? I mean, here we are playing footsies again.
I know, really. It's warm.
It is, and this table's so narrow. But it's like, I mean, they're, obviously the zombies or whatever you want to call them, the demons or whatever. I mean, they were who they were, but Lionel is just the one that makes that movie. What the heck was his name? Timothy Balm. Sorry.
Yeah.
He made that character. I mean, he did a really good job for the comedic value and the serious and this sort of like petite, adult.
Yeah.
He was very like
He started off very submissive, especially with his mother. He had to grow a backbone. He had no choice.
So
he had a good arc.
That's exactly. Yeah, he had a nice arc. Where he's just this subservient sort of person, and then now he's got to be, he's got to be the boss and take care of this shit. So
Yeah.
So that was my favorite, my most enjoyable character.
Yeah.
How about you?
For sure. Mine was Father Magruder.
Oh yeah,
I
did
did-
like.
I know-
I'm with you.
I know we didn't get
Yeah.
him for long, but I thought, I loved his thick accent. I loved how over the top he was. Go ahead.
I agree with you, but I disagree with you.
Go
I
ahead.
agree with you that I loved his character. I love that. I mean, it's almost like one of those things, like, obviously, like, the priest is going to be this, like, badass person. But I don't know. I think it was almost just enough of him. I wanted maybe a little bit more, but if I had too much of him, I think I would get annoyed.
Oh, okay.
I think I would get
Interesting.
annoyed after
Yeah.
a while, where I'm like, all right, like, okay, we get it. Like, so I thought it was just enough, maybe a little more of him. But anyways, I'm stepping on you.
No, it's good.
But yeah, no, I did like him a lot. So go ahead, continue.
I thought his dialogues were great. I kick ass for the Lord. It's time for divine intervention.
I got ice in my mouth, but yeah, those
Yeah,
were good.
dude. He was fantastic. His karate skills were fucking on point.
Oh, yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
decimating the zombies in the cemetery. He was just a ton of fun. And even like when he was a zombie, I mean, we wouldn't have had zombie baby little Selwyn
Yeah, we
without
would
him.
have the little creep. Yeah.
And it was just, in that dinner scene where him and Nurse McTavish are going at it, it was just fucking hilarious. So I'm gonna give it to Father Magruder for sure.
Would have never guessed that zombies get horny.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know a sex drive went up when you.
I didn't know they could get pregnant either.
Things are still working.
Still
They're
working.
just in a different.
In a different way.
Yeah. All right, so let's go on to most annoying characters. Matt, what do you got?
I had to think for a minute, and it didn't really take me that long.
Yeah.
I have to say, and I'm going to say it wrong. You've said it already a couple times. Paquita. I just did not care for her. I didn't care for. I mean, I get you had to have a love interest or whatever, that character. I just didn't like. I didn't like her character. I thought there wasn't much really, in my opinion, substance to her. It just seemed like she's just got to fill that role, and she's like, sort of the damsel in distress of all the characters. I mean, the main characters. I think that she was my least favorite.
Yeah. She was clearly very driven by the tarot cards to be, romantically entangled with Lionel because she was all about Roger.
Yeah.
To start off the movie.
Yep. The pharmacist or something, right? Was he a pharmacist?
Some
or was
sort
he
of delivery dude.
Yeah.
He came in the little delivery truck.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But, so fair enough. Paquita.
Yeah. So
All
it's
right.
completely off, not a pharmacist.
No, you're good. So I went with Uncle Les.
Okay.
Who was played by Ian Walken. Just a skeezy scum, consistently chasing Paquita, and then blackmailed Lionel to get the house and all that shit. And then one of the things I noticed, which grossed me out in a movie that's fucking disgusting, was he took a piss, didn't wash his hands, walked outside, rubbed his hands on the banister. Fucking gross. You gross scumbag.
Out of everything.
You didn't even wash your hands. And I think he had a urinary tract infection, he was saying. Fucking weird. But yeah, that was Uncle Les was my most annoying character.
Yeah.
So let's move it on into favorite kills or scares. We have a list here, I'm sure, for scares.
There's a lot. Well, not
for
honestly. So I'm gonna go ahead and start.
Yeah,
I know
I wrote a list of shit, so please do.
So I have two that I wrote down. I'm sure one of them might be in your list there.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I have the first one I wrote down that actually kind of actually scared. It scared.
Was it a scare or like a kill scare?
It was like a kill scare.
Okay.
So, and I actually liked it. I was like, oh, that was cool. And it was Void. It was a scene with Void. Mm-hmm. And there's this lady, one of the party goers. This is a party scene.
So this is in the party. There's a lot going on here.
And I think this character even had a name.
Was it Rita?
Was it the one she was like the red dress? She was the one that was the
that's Mandy.
Not the candle, but the
light bulb
where she
got punched.
Yeah, where she put so when Void punched her and his fist went through her face, like
dude,
I was like, oh my god, that was cool.
Yeah,
that was
so cool.
That kind of like jumped me a little bit, and I was like,
cool.
oh, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite scenes.
Mandy's whole like journey in
Yeah.
this fucking movie was amazing because obviously that happens.
Yeah.
And then Paquita throws her against the wall and she gets the light bulb
Yeah.
in her head and she's like this glowing
Sitting there,
zombie head.
just sitting, just
So
hanging
fucking
out
cool.
there. Was she the same character that was trying to come on to Lionel?
Yes, when he was handing out the hors d'oeuvres.
She's like, "Hey, do you want to go somewhere else and have another snack or something like that?"
She was like, "Do you have anything else for me to
Nibble on. That's right.
Yeah. No, Mandy was great.
Yeah.
She looked great in like a polka dot dress.
Oh yeah. See, I dig it. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
I'm there.
I love Mandy.
But so that one, and then just the. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. So when we talk about Father Magruber,
Magruder is the SNL guy.
I know, I said that on purpose. when we were introduced to him, where Void and his cronies or whatever were harassing Lionel and beating the shit out of him, that kung fu scene where he just comes out of nowhere and he just like starts beating the shit out of these guys. It was just like I was like this. That was one of my favorite scenes where he just starts lighting them up. I was like, oh, that's cool.
So good.
Yeah. So those are my two.
Yeah. I think the scene where I realized that things were going to be a little bit different in this movie was obviously, the custard scene.
Ugh.
And that was just, the whole fucking thing was hilarious because they had the Mathesons from, the Wellington Ladies Welfare League or whatever. It was just so grotesque. And then Vera was like chewing on her ear that dropped in her custard. It was hilarious. But a lot of my kills, and I talked about the editing a little earlier, but a lot of my kills were just like seamless moments. Like with the guy with his face getting peeled off on the floor.
Oh yeah, that was
like
good.
Just the moment, like the millisecond from him screaming to the face coming off, and then the effect is still moving. It's just, it's so amazing looking. And then, I'll throw out one last one, but the one guy that's trying to escape through like the little window from like the dining room to the, and they're like pulling him out, and it's just lower bloody legs, just sticks kicking.
Yeah.
It looked amazing.
It was good.
It was such a cool kill. Like that whole scene, like we could spend probably an hour and a half just talking about that party scene. But those were just a couple moments that, oh my gosh, I almost forgot about this. I just remembered this one. Mandy was the girl with the light bulb and getting punched through the face. And then Rita was a girl who was with Paquita who was like trying to survive, but she got bit in the neck. Her taking out by the zombie baby. Selwyn.
Oh yeah,
where her face starts like her neck starts bulging out, and then the little arms punch out of her ears.
Yeah,
and then it just grabs her face and rips it open, and it's a little
face.
Selwyn baby in there.
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
Well, there were like two parts like that. The one where the nurse, where Mom comes and attacks the nurse, she grabs her face.
She puts her fingers in her face and like shaking it around, and then like snaps it.
She's like pulling it apart, and then she snaps it back.
Yeah.
And then the baby scene too. So no, that was I blew
almost
past
forgot.
that too. That's a great one.
Well, and that's the thing. Like the rewatchability is totally worth it in this film because the more you watch it, the more shit you catch.
Yeah.
Because there's a fuck ton of stuff happening in that final third of the movie.
Definitely.
Next up, final cut. And this is where I reveal the shocking ending of the movie, and we rate and give our stabs of 1 to 5 stabs, which are 1 stab, no redeeming value, 2 stabs, bad, 3 stabs, mediocre, 4 stabs, good, 5 stabs, masterpiece. All right, so ready?
Absolutely.
After Uncle Les blackmails Lionel into giving him the house after Vera's death, he decides to invite some friends over for a bash. Meanwhile, Paquita is outside with Roger on the most boring date ever, so she ditches him mid-sentence and enters the house to see what's going on. Uncle Les runs into her and scares her off into the basement. It's here that she finally learns of Lionel's secret zombie crew, and luckily, he saves her before they tear her apart. They find some poison and start injecting the zombies. With the bodies buried, the two head upstairs to the party, but at which point Uncle Les gets into a scuffle with Lionel and throws him back into the basement. Lionel then makes the discovery that he injected the zombies with animal stimulant. So Nurse McTavish, Father Magruder, Void, and Selwyn explode out of the ground. Lionel runs and starts banging on the basement door while clutching the amulet. The drunken partygoer opens the door and Lionel escapes while the poor partygoer's whole chest is ripped out. Next is just a pure gooey mayhem with the whole party turning into zombies. Lionel eventually makes his way upstairs with Void not far behind and gains the upper hand, but Void's intestines start chasing him around. Now in the attic, Lionel finds a picture of his father and his father's mistress, remembering that his father didn't drown trying to save him, but that his mother Vera killed them both by drowning them in the bathtub while Lionel watched on. Void's intestines show back up and attack Lionel, and he falls through the ceiling, dropping the amulet. Left dangling in the air by the intestines, the horde descends on him. Meanwhile, Uncle Les chases the zombie baby into the basement and is grabbed up by the monstrous Mega Vera, who starts peeling Les's head and spine from the rest of his body. Back upstairs, Lionel escapes the intestines and grabs his trusty lawnmower. He announces the party is over before literally mowing down the rest of the zombies. Paquita is attacked by Uncle Les, but she quickly smashes his head into smithereens. After making mush of all the zombies, the intestines show back up and attack Lionel. Paquita rushes in, grabs the amulet from the intestines, and Lionel finally finishes the job. At this point, Mega Vera emerges, and Lionel confronts her on the roof about lying to him and murdering his father and the blonde woman. So Mega Vera informs him that no one would love him like his mother, while her stomach opens up and consumes him. Armed with the amulet, Lionel slices through her stomach and escapes while she falls back into the house and explodes. The two flee the burning house while a firefighting crew shows up. Walking away, Lionel tosses the amulet and he shares a passionate and bloody kiss with Paquita. The end. So Matt, what'd you think of the ending?
So we kind of talked a little bit about it, but I didn't really care for the killing scene of Mum.
Yeah.
I wish there was a little bit more to the Mum killing scene than just he's got this amulet, which, by the way, and maybe I missed it, maybe we know a little bit more about the amulet, like where does that derive from, like where does that come from?
So when Paquita's grandma did the tarot cards,
Yeah,
I think it was the star and the crescent moon that was like this a sign, but that was, that also showed up when Lionel came to the convenience store and he dropped the pencils with the licorice or whatever it was. And that sign showed up again. And then she randomly had this amulet that she gave to him to protect him from these dark forces that also showed up in the cards.
Yeah.
So it was
it's
in
just
there.
like a random amulet. Like, oh, here
you go. But I did think it was funny because, it kind of was a big part of the movie as far as this thing that was supposed to protect Lionel from the dark forces.
Yeah.
And then he goes to throw it away at the end. Paquita's like, no. And then he's just like, fuck you. I'm throwing your grandma's amulet away. And he fucking tosses it. It's like, you asshole. You were it protected you. And now you're just like,
what
fuck
saved
this
your
thing.
life?
Yeah.
You don't want to hold on to that? Yeah. That is pretty funny.
Yeah, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but yeah, I mean that was a little disappointing. I thought I was wishing there might have been a little more of something, more action, I guess, action with Mom and Lionel. I wish that there was, a little more than all of a sudden this mother who's now this mega, like you said, mega mom,
Mega Vera,
yeah. Talking to him, which I thought was kind of odd.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. She had a monster voice.
It was just kind of odd.
It would have been better if she, they may have used her voice and then just modularized it or whatever. But it would have been cool if it was just straight up his mom's voice.
Up his mom's voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, son. Yeah. No, but I a little disappointed.
Yeah.
For the movie, for everything that was going on in the movie, a lot of all the action, as far as action, meaning bloody scenes and everything.
Yeah.
I just felt like that felt very, very short. So, but yeah, that was my thought. How about you?
No, it was the same. I thought there should have been more of a more of a back and forth with him and his mom. It was cool that she swallowed him up and he went back into the womb.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. It was weird that the way she died, he just opened up the same hole that was open to consume him. He just cut it open again.
And pieces of her started falling apart.
Yeah, it was just blood and guts all over the place.
Yeah.
But it was fine. It was an ending. It wasn't anything crazy.
That's what it was. It was an ending.
It was an ending. But Matt, let's get into our stabs.
Let's do it.
This is gonna be the toughest part. Matt, what do you give it?
So going back, like we were talking about before, this movie, when I think I first watched it, there were parts of it that I liked, and there were parts that I was just like, it was nauseating, and I had a hard time because this movie could be a total flop. Initially, this movie could be a total flop, like a 2, or this could be like a 4 or a 5 even. So, and I'm going to recommend that everybody do this. Please watch this movie at least 2 times. At
Yeah.
least 2 times. I think at the second time you watch it, you will appreciate it a lot more. Like you had said, there's a lot of these little things going on, especially the party scene was just huge.
Yeah, it's so
You
much
know,
going on.
And so that's where totally flipped my stabs, and I gave it a 4.
Ooh.
I gave it a solid 4.
Yeah.
I looked at it as, in our levels, I guess, our levels of stabs. Would I sit down and watch this movie again? Absolutely.
Yeah.
100% I would watch this movie. Was this like the best movie ever? I don't know, but it's up there. It's definitely up there.
So for me, very conflicted because, I know its shortcomings. I see its faults, but what it does so well, it does perfectly. I talked about the effects and the editing and, everything that's over the top about this movie is just so much fun. I can't tell you of another movie that I've had as much fun watching. And like I said, the rewatchability, if you can get past all the gore and bodily fluid stuff, is really worth it. I'm going to go 4.5.
4 Wow, that's
I'm
a good
going
one.
4.5.
Yeah.
I'm taking a little bit away just to try to be fair, but it's really tough just because I enjoy it so much and it makes me happy. I've had a couple friends watch it, which we'll get into in the Voices from Beyond.
Yeah.
And, I talked about it the last episode, but I've been going out and getting like a lay of the land for the films. And, there's tons of videos on YouTube of like people's reaction videos to like watching stuff. There is no other movie I've enjoyed watching reaction videos to on YouTube than Braindead.
Right.
Just people losing their minds to this movie and just all the crazy shit. Like I said, no stone unturned.
Yeah.
No stone unturned. So I'm going to land on a 4.5 for
Nice.
Braindead.
Nice. I like it. I can get with that. I could easily bump it up to another 0.5.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think this movie, I think you can't watch it one time.
Yeah.
I think you're going to do yourself a disservice if you only watch it one time.
I agree. All right, guys, let's get into our next segment, which is Voices from Beyond. And this is where we go through our social media posts and we share your guys' thoughts on the film. So our beloved Shelley's out today, so I will cover it. First up, we have Brian M. Brian M said, if Peter Jackson made Evil Dead with less likable protagonists, you get Dead Alive. It's a fun movie with some great gore and practical effects, but overall just a little above average. Lionel is a great weenie, and why the hell is he keeping everyone alive in his basement? Fair thought. His Uncle Les definitely gave off rapey vibes before he even tried anything on Paquita. And perhaps the most disgusting thing in the movie is him not washing his hands after using the bathroom. Brian, good call, buddy. Father MacGruber, you fucked me up. Father Magruder was the best character and the best line, stand back, boy. This calls for divine intervention. I kick ass for the Lord. And even after he turns into a zombie, he knocks up Nurse McTavish 3.5 stabs from Brian. Thanks, Brian. Next up, we got Lisa C. Lisa said, I get this was Peter Jackson's earlier work, but I'd rather The Lord of the Rings over this. It was too campy for me and I had a hard time sitting through it. A rat monkey? What the fuck? I will never pick this one up ever. LOL, 1 stab out of 5.
That's like we said, this movie could be one of your top 10 movies, or it could be like your bottom.
Yeah. Next up, we have Paul M. Paul M said, Squeal. One of my absolute favorites. Definitely a 5 stabby stab movie. It's gorier than the Overlook Hotel's elevator, funnier than the Tucker's Holiday Cabin, and campier than Elvira's Cleavage. Not to mention some of the most iconic horror lines. He went on to say, after every time I mow, I always say, does this look like a well-maintained frontage? And of course the immortal, your mother ate my dog.
Not all of it.
Yeah, not all of it, Paul. Some of it was on the bed, too. Disgusting.
That was another trippy scene, too, by the way.
Oh, the consuming of Fernando?
I mean, you could tell it was, obviously a fake, but just pulling the hair out of her, I was like, oh yeah. My God.
I know. All right, next up we have Jeremy W. And he said, all I can say is OMG. Talk about disturbing, like a British version of Evil Dead. All in all, not bad. Seen better, but also seen worse. 3 stabby stabs. Love the podcast. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy. JC.
All right, and finally we have Brian P. And Brian said, okay, firstly, holy shit, this movie is wild. I was laughing lots of times. It's beyond ridiculous. The priest impaling scene was perfect. And he said he might even be my favorite character. And he finished off with saying, there's literally so much going on in this film that I'd have to watch it again to catch everything. So that is our Voices from Beyond. Thank you, everyone, for giving those little nuggets to us and being a part of the podcast.
Yes.
Matt, do you have any interesting
I
facts?
do.
Okay.
I have a couple interesting facts. Fun facts. All right. On its initial release in its home turf of New Zealand, this movie earned more screen than Batman Returns, 1992.
Ooh.
Yeah.
In New Zealand?
On this initial release in its home turf. So yeah, in its home turf.
Okay. Yes.
In New Zealand, this got more screen than Batman Returns.
Let's go.
In New Zealand.
Yes.
Yes. So I did find out 300 liters of fake blood was used in the final scene of this movie.
Wow.
And that is
Are you converting
almost,
it?
yeah,
Okay.
that's almost 80 gallons of blood.
That's a lot of blood.
That's a lot of blood. It's 79.252 gallons of blood.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot. The rental in Sweden and probably other countries as well came with a supplement vomit bag.
Ooh.
So you would get a
That's-
vomit bag for this movie.
That's a good move, and especially for 1992, 93, whenever
Yeah.
it was actually out and about everywhere else.
Yeah,
It's probably worthwhile.
Yeah, I probably would have taken one. I would probably would have
Yeah.
asked for 2 of those vomit bags. And we had a director cameo. Peter Jackson
Ooh.
was the Undertaker's assistant in this movie.
in the embalming scene?
Yeah.
That was a lot of
So I
fluids.
thought, yeah. So, the second time I watched this movie, going back to annoying characters, I thought whatever the hell he was, the scientist, the Nazi scientist.
Oh,
or whatever,
that was
disgusting.
at the animal vet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
vet. Yeah, that's what he was. He was an animal. That was disgusting. Like, he's drooling on
Oh, I
himself.
know.
Like, why the fuck is he drooling? Just weird. And
so
then
weird.
somewhat of a hint that he's a Nazi. He's got his little shirt torn there to show the swastika.
Yeah,
I thought that was
swastika showing
interesting.
through his lab
Yeah,
coat.
but I thought also Peter, and I could be wrong. I thought Peter Jackson was the guy in the beginning of the movie where they show where this rat monkey came from.
He does look similar.
I thought that's what I thought.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a question.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. That guy was a representative of the Newtown Zoo or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that brings us to the end of Braindead. Next up, we have Wheel of Death. And this is where, first and foremost, we need to replace Braindead on the wheel. And I have the bag here that I'm going to pick of predetermined movies that we chose at the beginning of the season and you guys submitted. So let's see what we are replacing Braindead with. Ooh, this is a Matt W. Matt, this is one of your movies.
Yeah.
1973, George Romero, The Crazies.
Ooh, yeah.
We have a George Romero flick that is not a zombie flick. So we have The Crazies, 1973, being added to the wheel.
The Crazies. Got it. Coolio. Yeah, I got it.
All right. Matt, go ahead and read off the 10 movies we have still on the wheel.
All right. The wonderful, wonderful Wheel of Death still has Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Did I say that right? Okay.
Yep. Children shouldn't play with dead things.
Triangle, Henry II, Behind the Mask, Lake Mungo, Friday the 13th, Part 2, Pet Cemetery, Phantasm 2, and the duly anticipated Tammy and the T-Rex, and the newly entered The Crazies.
The Crazies. All right. So, Matt, get your phone
All situated.
set up.
Let me see here.
Properly.
What's
What are you going to test it with?
I don't know. Let's see. There we go. I think we're good. Oh, come on.
Jesus. We're going to hit with copyright for some
There we go.
douchebag.
All right. So here we shall spin the wheel of death. Ready and begin. Wheel of death.
Wheel of death. Wheel of death. Wheel of death. Wheel of death. Matt, what's our next movie?
All right, our next movie is Pet Cemetery.
Ooh, this is the original, right?
The OG.
Pet Cemetery.
The O to the G.
All right, let's see where Pet Cemetery is playing. So this is the 1989 Pet Cemetery. Director was Mark Lambert, I think.
Sounds right.
It looks like Pet Cemetery is available for rent on Amazon Prime. Looks like you can also rent it on Vudu, Redbox, Apple TV, Google Play, YouTube.
Looks like we're going to be renting this one, boys and ladies. Unless you have it.
You own it.
Yeah.
You want to own it. So this is a rental one. On either of those platforms, you can check that movie out. All right, guys, next episode drops September 20th. If you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please hit the follow button and give us a rating and review if you like what we do. You can find us on Facebook by searching Little Bracket of Horrors and on Instagram by typing at Little Bracket of Horrors. We also have merch available at tpublic.com. If you'd like, just go in their website search bar and type in Little Bracket of Horrors, or you can pay attention to our socials for a direct link. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Derek.
I'm Matt.
And we will check you on the other side.
So we talked a little bit. I mean, we're very, one thing I will say with this podcast that we are very, very adamant about is not to have too much offline discussion about it. What do you think? So we try to hold that for the podcast, which is nice. Now I'm going to sneeze. I feel it coming. Maybe not. Maybe not.
That was a
definitely.
cough.
I know that.
Oh,
I'm gonna fart. Achoo. Sorry.
Yeah.
No. Where the nurse and Father Gruder are performing coitus, and
Sweet
Uncle
zombie coitus. Is sex coitus?
Isn't it? I think so.
Or is coitus like the act of like?
You better look that up so we don't have to.
We're not dum-dums about
edit it or. Yeah.
Let's see what coitus.
I think coitus is just sex, right?
Let's look. I guarantee you I'm going to spell it wrong.
Just don't you have talk to text? You're like,
so I'm trying to spell it and I got equities.
That sounds right. Just say the word into your phone.
Oh.
Siri, what's coitus?
Coitus. Coitus. It says Cortez.
Dang it. God, what the frig?
Hold on. Wait, I fix it. What is coitus?
You're yelling coitus in your phone.
What is coitus?
Should see your face.
It says Cortez again.
Oh,
What is Cortez?
Coitus?
Coitus.
Here we go. Just have to learn how to talk, Derek. Coitus is a noun. It's formal. Sexual intercourse.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Sexual intercourse is sexual activity involving the inserting and thrusting of the penis inside the vagina for sexual pleasure, reproduction, or both.
Yeah.
This is also known as a vaginal.
Vaginal?
All right, let's stop right there. We keep playing footsies. I mean,
I do.
Cool.
We do.
We do.
And this is where I reveal the shocking ending of the movie, and we rate and give our stabs of 1 to 5 stabs, which are 1 stab, no redeeming value, 2 stabs, bad, 3 stabs, mediocre, 4 stabs, good, 5 stabs, masterpiece. All right, so ready?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Daniel, I can hear you.
Daniel, shut your fat mouth. I love you.
Go in the bedroom.
I'm kidding, but yes, please be quiet.
All right.
Hey, Daniel. Come here, please.
Tell him to give us like 5 or 10 minutes.
Hey. Yes,
Yes.
very loud. If you want, just go into Ian's room for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Chicken nuggets.
Okay, go in Ian's room and eat
You
chicken
can eat
nuggets,
chicken
okay?
nuggets anyway.
Daniel, I can just hear your voice.
You have such a booming voice,
Yeah.
deep voice.
Okay?
Nothing like your father's got
Yeah.
a
Very,
light,
very
effeminate voice.
Very
Feminine.
baby voice.
very effeminate, okay?
Very feminine.
Like 10 minutes or so, okay?
Okay.
We can just hear you.
Make
over
us
there.
proud.
Okay.
Hmm?
Are you guys
Can you make us
Don't
proud?
screw up again.
Can you make us proud, Daniel?
Are you guys recording right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's
Can
go.
we make you proud?
This part is probably going to be edited.
Yes. this
Or
will
on
go.
the
Extras.
blooper reels.
Make me proud.
So
Go away.
shut your mouth.
My mouth is being shut. All right.
Okay. All right.
We'll just wait for them to walk away.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna be noisy walking away.
Yeah. See.
Who knows?
Let's hold on. Let's hold on.
Who knows what will even be picked up? But yeah.